The battle for Willow Lake. It was a crisp summer morning when I found myself waist-deep in the cool waters of my private lake, Willow Lake, letting the world fade away. The sun was just peeking over the pines, casting a golden glow across the water. I closed my eyes, savoring the stillness until a voice like a foghorn shattered the peace. "Sir, you are in violation." I cracked one eye open to see Linda, the president of the Lakeside Homeowners Association, HOA, storming down the shore. She wore a neon green visor, clutched a clipboard like a weapon, and had the expression of someone who'd just smelled sour milk. "This is unauthorized aquatic activity," she barked, as if I'd been caught dumping trash in her garden. I blinked, water dripping from my hair. "Linda, this is my lake." She scribbled furiously, undeterred. "The community's serenity has been disrupted. You'll be fined." That's when I realized this wasn't just about a morning swim. This was war. My name's Tom Harper, a 52-year-old retiree who bought this slice of paradise in suburban Indiana 2 years ago. The property was a dream. 10 acres of rolling hills, thick woods, and a sparkling lake that felt like my personal Eden. The only catch: it sat on the edge of Lakeside Estates, a neighborhood ruled by Linda and her HOA. My land wasn't part of their jurisdiction. My deed and survey made that clear, but Linda acted like she owned every blade of grass within a 5-mile radius. Linda wasn't new to me. When I moved in, the realtor warned me with a nervous chuckle about active neighbors. I thought she meant potlucks and book clubs. Instead, I got Linda, the kind of woman who'd send a certified letter because your mailbox was half an inch too tall. Within weeks of settling in, she showed up with a loaf of zucchini bread and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Have you considered repainting your cabin to match our community palette?" she asked. I told her I'd rather paint it polka dots. She didn't laugh. Instead, she left me a 20-page booklet on neighborhood aesthetics and a glare that could peel paint. The swim incident wasn't her first rodeo. She'd complained about my wind chimes, my gravel driveway, even the pumpkins on my porch for being too rustic. But finding me for swimming in my own lake, that was a new low. 2 days later, a crisp envelope arrived with an HOA letterhead, signed by Linda herself, demanding $500 for violating lake use standards. A second letter followed, warning of escalation to their compliance committee. I laughed so hard I nearly choked on my coffee. My lake, my shoreline, and she thought she could charge me for it? I called my friend Ellen, a real estate lawyer who'd once taken down a developer for shady wetland deals. She read the fine and cackled. "This is unenforceable, Tom. But she's building a paper trail to claim some kind of jurisdiction over the lake. You need to get ahead of this." Her words hit hard. Willow Lake wasn't just water, it was why I'd bought this place. I grew up in Chicago, trapped in concrete and noise. This lake was my escape, where I swam to clear my mind, fished at dusk, and watched my dog, Rusty, leaping like it was his personal playground. The thought of Linda controlling it made my blood boil. Ellen suggested a survey to confirm my property lines, especially around the HOA's dock across the lake. It was their pride and joy, always buzzing with barbecues, yoga sessions, and kids' birthday parties. If any part of it crossed into my land, I'd have leverage. The next day, a surveyor in a reflective vest set up his equipment. By noon, he called me over with a grin. "You're gonna love this. Your property extends 6 feet farther into the lake than the old deed shows. And that HOA dock? About 10% of it's on your land. They're trespassing." That tiny overlap was my golden ticket. I called Ellen, who whistled. "You could demand they remove it, charge them rent," or she paused. "Or what?" I asked. "Buy it," she said. "Offer to buy the dock through a third party when they're desperate for cash." I leaned back, a plan forming. Linda thought she was playing chess with her fines and letters. I was about to change the game. I dug into the HOA's public records meeting minutes, newsletters, budgets. They were bleeding money after a botched landscaping project and a failed solar panel scheme. One footnote mentioned divestment of non-essential assets, including the dock. Jackpot. I set up an LLC called Rusty Holdings to keep my name out of it, and sent a formal offer to buy the dock for a modest sum, tossing in vague promises of community access to sweeten the deal. 3 weeks later, the HOA board signed the papers, thinking they'd offloaded a maintenance headache to some faceless investor. I sat on my dock, staring across at their flower pots and lanterns, now legally mine, and smiled. Patience tasted sweet. I didn't announce the purchase. I waited. Linda kept quiet, which worried me more than her usual rants. Her newsletters started vague posting about disruptive residents and included a blurry photo of me swimming, circled in red like I was a wanted man. Then she announced a Lake Appreciation Day on the HOA Dock Me Dock complete with music, food, and her inevitable speech. It was set for a Saturday, 1 week after the ownership papers were filed. I couldn't have scripted it better. The morning of the event, I sat on my dock with Rusty, binoculars in hand, watching the chaos unfold. Tables lined the shore, kids ran wild, and Linda, in a pink visor and matching blouse, barked orders through a megaphone. Keep the cupcakes shaded. No kayaks near the yoga mats. It was like watching a dictator orchestrate a picnic. Ellen joined me, a folder under her arm. "You're enjoying this too much," she said. "Just enough," I replied. At noon, Linda took center stage on the dock, megaphone in hand. "We're here to celebrate our lake, our unity, and our commitment to this community. No outsider can ruin what we've built." That was my cue. I handed Ellen an envelope. "Showtime." She marched across, sunglasses on, and handed Linda the papers. "You're trespassing on private property. This dock belongs to Rusty Holdings LLC. Vacate immediately." Linda laughed, thinking it was a prank, until she read the documents. Her face crumpled like a paper bag. "This is a mistake," she screeched. The crowd murmured. Someone asked, "What's going on?" Ellen repeated, "This dock is private property. You have 15 minutes to leave." Panic spread. Linda pointed across the lake at me, screaming, "Tom, this is your doing." I waved cheerfully from my dock, Rusty barking beside me. She hurled her clipboard into the lake with a splash, and someone started recording. That video, later titled HOA Queen's Epic Meltdown, went viral by nightfall. Linda's tantrum was Oscar-worthy flailing arms, accusations of betrayal, claims I'd forged the deed. But the HOA board, now reading the papers, backed away. By 1 p.m., the dock was empty except for Linda, slumped in a folding chair, staring at the water like a defeated general. The party was over, and so was her reign. But Linda wasn't done. 3 days later, I woke to hammering across the lake. She was building a new dock, just outside my boundary, dangerously close to a protected wetland. No permit, no notice, just raw defiance. I called Ellen, who pulled zoning maps and confirmed it was illegal. I drove to the county office with a folder of evidence, survey data, zoning laws, and Linda's own newsletter announcing the construction. The clerk nodded. "We'll handle it." 2 days later, a county inspector arrived, took one look at the half-built dock, and slapped an orange cease and desist sign on it. "You're in a protected buffer zone with untreated wood. This is a serious violation," he told Linda. She screamed about community rights, but the work stopped, and her volunteers slunk away, one quietly hiding the HOA banner. Linda tried one last gambit, a wildlife complaint, claiming my swimming, Rusty splashing, and my dock's solar lights harmed local herons. She included doctored photos of me paddleboarding, cropped to look like I was chasing birds. I countered with proof of my partnership with a conservation nonprofit, including a grant for bird nesting platforms. The county dismissed her complaint and praised my efforts, even posting my photo with Rusty on a local bulletin board. Linda saw it while buying paper towels and muttered about conspiracies. Her final move was a lawsuit, accusing me of emotional distress and community destabilization. In court, her lawyer cited her viral meltdown video as evidence of humiliation. The judge raised an eyebrow. "She's screaming in this video she posted herself?" Ellen laid out my airtight case: legal ownership, Linda's illegal actions, and her self-inflicted drama. The judge dismissed the case in 10 minutes. Linda walked out, head down, her fight finally over. The lake was quiet again. Linda was ousted as HOA president. Her house went up for sale, and she left town. The community, once cowed by her, now mocked her with memes and Facebook posts. I fortified my property with a legal fence and conservation signage, hosted school field trips, and swam every morning with Rusty by my side. The lake wasn't just mine, it was free. One fall afternoon, as leaves turned gold, Ellen and I grilled fish on my dock. "Miss the drama?" she asked. I smirked. Not a bit. The stars came out, reflecting on Willow Lake, and I knew I'd won more than a fight. I'd won peace. What do you think, readers? Was Linda's obsession with control a form of petty tyranny, or did she genuinely believe she was protecting her community? Have you faced similar battles with overzealous neighbors or unjust rules? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's debate the line between fairness and power in our neighborhoods.